UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says Palestinians in the Gaza Strip face a living nightmare, and urges a ceasefire. Israel's Netanyahu again rejects the prospect of a ceasefire without the release of captives in Gaza as the Israeli military claims Hamas is losing control of the enclave's north. UN Secretary-General Guterres says the number of civilians killed in Gaza indicates there is something clearly wrong with Israel's military operations. Israel continues the targeting of residential areas across Gaza with 214 people killed in the last 24 hours. G7 countries and NATO chief expressed support for humanitarian pauses in the fighting amid reports of negotiations to secure the release of some captives in exchange for a short ceasefire. More than 10,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7. In Israel, the death toll over the same period stands at more than 1,400. The United Nations Human Rights Chief said the widespread outbreaks of disease and hunger seemed inevitable in Gaza after weeks of Israeli assault on the densely populated Palestinian enclave. Speaking at an informal briefing to states at the United Nations in Geneva after visiting the Middle East, Volker Turk said the depletion of fuel would have a catastrophic impact across Gaza. It would lead to the collapse of sewage systems, healthcare, and end the scarce humanitarian aid being supplied. Massive outbreaks of infectious disease and hunger seem inevitable, Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said. The World Health Organization has warned of worrying trends in disease spread in Gaza, saying there had been an unusually large number of cases of diarrheal disease in the enclave, where bombardments and a ground operation have disrupted the health system, access to clean water, and caused people to crowd into shelters. In comments to the media after his briefing to UN member states, Turk said lasting peace was impossible without an end to long-standing violations of human rights. Warnings by my office and others about human rights violations over many years have been ignored, not only in Israel and in the occupied Palestinian territory, but also by states with influence on the parties to this crisis, he said. This needs to change for this conflict to be enduringly resolved.
The only winner of such a war is likely to be extremism and further extremism. I think we have seen this as many histories lessons from the past, that this unfortunately fuels extremism. Warnings by my office and others about human rights violations over many years have been ignored, not only in Israel and in the occupied Palestinian territory, but also by states with influence on the parties to this crisis. This needs to change. For this conflict to be enduringly resolved,